So before we move on to the next two topics, I'm now going to talk about the notes in section 7.5. So for me, I'm a strong believer that, I strongly believe that you should learn where something comes from before we use it. So, like the quadratic formula, I am going to derive the vertex formula for you guys. So, and then as you can see with the big bold red, that it is that you will have to rewrite it yourself and then turn it in to me via Blackboard by Thursday before midnight, right? So deriving the vertex formula. So I gave you guys, so we just started here. So we're going to start with the general quadratic function. So what is that? That is f of x is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. And then a is not equal to 0. Because if a is 0, then this just becomes a linear function, right? So what am I going to do? How am I going to derive the vertex formula? I am going to use these steps that we talked about in the second topic, right? So for step 1, I'm going to, so technically I don't need that because there's an equal sign, right? So same step. I'm going to factor out the a right here, right? And to my variable term. So this becomes ax squared, and this is b over ax, and then plus c. Right? If I distribute the a back in, I will get the original equation. So what is step 2? We're going to complete the square. How do we complete the square? We take the coefficient of the linear function, so that is b over a. We're going to divide it by 2. So dividing by 2 is the same as multiplying by 1/2, and then squaring it. So what do I get? I get b squared over 4a squared, right? Because b times 1 is b, b squared is b squared is b times b, which is b squared, and then 2a, or a times 2 is 2a, and 2a times 2a is 4a squared, right? So what am I going to do with this? I am going to add and subtract this value within my parentheses. Okay, I'm going to add 0 to our function. So this is adding b squared over 4a squared, and then subtracting b squared over 4a squared, and then plus c. Right? So now I want to complete the square, but I cannot do that until one of these terms goes away. So what am I going to do? I'm going to distribute a into this the subtraction term, so we can kick it out. So this is a, and then x squared plus b over ax plus squared over 4a squared. This is minus, so this is going to be minus ab squared over 4a squared plus c. All right? So now, if we did this correctly, we should be able to complete the square. So, and then see, this will be x plus b over 2a, right? The quantity squared. So I promise you this is it. So if we FOIL it back out, we will get this above. So you can check it on your own time. So actually check it in your homework. So you can show me that you understand why this is the perfect square trinomial. Right? And then over here, so simplifying is going to be a little more difficult, but that's fine. So what am I going to do to simplify this? I'm first going to get rid of these a's, because this is a to the first and this is a squared. So it's so we can subtract the exponents. 1 minus 1 is a to the negative 1, which brings the a to the bottom. So this is b squared over 4a. Right? I'm also going to take it a step further, and I'm also going to make the c have a common denominator. Right? So I'm kind of smushing some steps, but it's fine. Right? So for over here, so this is over 1 and this is 4 over 4a. So what is our LCD? Our LCD is 4a. How do we get 4a? We're going to have to multiply the top and bottom, the c times 4a over 4a. So this is going to be 4ac. Right? So this is a and then x plus b over 2a quantity squared minus how about okay, let me add some steps. So this is going to be 4ac over 4a minus, so I'm using the commutative property, right, because I don't want this negative out in the front, right? Oops. Okay, and so when I combine this, I get 4ac minus b squared over 4a. Right? So this is now in vertex form. And what do we know about vertex form? So for vertex form, okay, it is f of x is equal to a times x minus h quantity squared plus k, and then our vertex is hk. So it's this and this. So looking at here, this is h, oh that is super big, and this is k. So what is my vertex? My vertex is b over 2a, and this is 4ac minus b squared over 4a. Right? As you can see, it is what? Oh my goodness, I did wrong. So this is minus x minus h. This is x plus h. So my bad. Right? Maybe I can just squeeze it. So we're gonna say a x minus negative b over 2a quantity squared plus, and then you should write this down, but as you can see, I ran out of space. But as long as you know that I have brought that down, we are good. Right? So vertex form is actually negative b over 2a, and then the y component is 4ac minus b squared over 4a. So this vertex formula lets us find the vertex for a general quadratic function that looks like ax squared plus bx plus c, right? So what does that mean? That means that if you are not specifically told you need to put this in vertex form when you're given a problem that looks like example 1 or example 2 that we just did above, you are allowed to use this vertex formula as long as it's not explicitly stated that you need to put it in vertex form, right? So this is just the general vertex form. Or it is negative b over 2a and then f of negative b over 2a. Right, so how can we remember the x-coordinate of our vertex? Because as you can see, they're both the exact same, right? So your only option, so for the first one, you have to memorize it's the 4ac minus b squared over 4a. Or the second one, which I prefer more, because all you need to know is if you know the x-coordinate, just know that you need to plug that x-coordinate into your function, and that's, not much more to memorize. All right, so but if we recall the quadratic formula, if you notice, the x-coordinate is the first part of our quadratic formula. So it's this part right here. It is this part right here. That is our x component of the vertex, right? And then what does f of negative b over 2a mean? F of that is like saying f of 4. It's whatever value negative b over 2a is, you plug it into your function and it spits out your x, right? So y coordinate of our vertex. Right, so that finishes up our notes, and then I'll talk about topics 3 and 4 after this.